How big those squirrels are. We got 1, 2, 3.
Whoa! Whoa!
Since the media has been underreporting the flooding from Hurricane Helene, I'm just going to share some things from people who are in the area and on the ground. So this woman said she got a message from her husband's friends saying they pulled out over 1,000 bodies just in one day. And in their words, people are going feral because they don't have any food or water. And I've seen videos of people fighting over water because it's so limited. Again, you can find these all in my reposts. This is an update I got from my lineman friend in Asheville. Went up Old Fort Road where it connects to number 9. The whole area is gone. 100-foot ravine where houses used to sit. Kids walking around naked, asking where their parents are. People begging for water. Black Hawk helicopters from FEMA. I don't want to talk about the smell of dead. I'm in disbelief. This video is also in my repost. The caption says, when they say your town is unreachable, the town says, F it, we'll get it on our own. And the video shows a bunch of truckers coming in with supplies and gas. So if the truckers can make it, why isn't the National Guard there? Why isn't FEMA there? Why isn't the Red Cross there? They're being failed. And yes, the National Guard and FEMA is in some areas, but they've left a lot of areas hanging, stranded. These people are running out of food. They're running out of water. They're dying. I also saw another video, it's in my recent repost, of a guy who was trying to get a rescue team in to go rescue people, and they were told to stand out and that they're not allowed to go rescue people. I don't know what's going on and why there's so much corruption when it comes to rescuing people. We have the most powerful military, most well-equipped military in the entire world, so I'm not sure why the military can't go do these major rescues. Like, why? That should be, like, it's not the soldiers' fault, but obviously. But why aren't there teams trained for natural disasters on U.S. soil? Like, that should be a thing.
When the golden leaves are falling down the lane I used to know, my heart is longing for the days gone by. The woodland trails are calling back to scenes of long ago, where we wandered 'neath the bare October sky. I can hear the brook that's flowing by the pathway through the dell. I wish that I could be there once again, where the songbirds in the treetops sing to me their last farewell, when the golden leaves were falling down the lane. When the golden leaves are falling, then my memory always strays to scenes of woodland dells and glistening streams. Oh, the sadness and the gladness of those dear forgotten days, when the leaves were falling down the trail of dreams. Once when golden leaves were falling round the schoolhouse in the dell, we roamed the woods, my childhood love and I. Hand in hand we strolled together o'er the glades we loved so well. There alone we watched the sunsets fade and die. But the angels up in heaven, searching for a flower fair, saw my darling smile as pure as autumn rain. 'Neath the sycamore we left her with a soft and tender prayer, when the golden leaves were falling down the lane. When the golden leaves are falling, then my memory always strays to scenes of woodland dells and and glistening streams. Oh, the sadness and the gladness of...
This is our road.
Yep.
Or was our road.
Look,
It's the only way out.
Zoom into that tree in the road.
This is,
That
wait, hold on. They built a road over a river, and the river won.
Yep.
Hurricane Helene, 2024. We are now landlocked on this mountain. Supposedly there was lots of mudslides up top, and they're locked in with a couple barriers, and this is what the end of our road looks like. We need a bridge, and we need
Please,
lines
somebody.
fixed. There's a lot of lines down, so we're
It's Sunday after the hurricane hit, and this is in North Carolina. And I am seeing precious little about the devastation in the Smoky Mountains. We're talking about North Carolina, we're talking about Tennessee, and these are places where the dams broke and days of rain were hit by just an onslaught of water, and now roads are washed out, highways are washed out. And when I talk about roads and highways, these are not places where they have multiple points of entry and exit. These are towns and little hamlets that only have one road. And I'm not sure how you come back from this. And I'm upset and concerned that we're not seeing more of that on our timelines, especially given that I fear that our network television has forgot that their purpose is to inform. I think that they're just holding their breath until election coverage sparks up again, or until the people start to spit back and forth with each other on whose fault this may be. Getting up to these mountains is going to be extremely difficult. I've been seeing people talk about there's no way to get cars up there anymore, so they're trying to use horses. I've seen people with farms where all of their animals have drowned. This is serious stuff. And if you're like me and you don't necessarily have a church home, this is for church people, stay if you want, or you know, whatever. If you have money that you have not been sending in for offerings and tithes, now is a great time to send that money over to mutual aid. And it's Sunday, so here's a couple of resources. Blue Ridge Public Radio has an article that says ways to donate and help flood victims in Western North Carolina. They list a couple of churches and a food bank. People are going to need water. People are going to need food. They are only able to fly in and fly out of these places. And you also have to understand that a lot of these places, these are rural people who don't have a lot of money to begin with. So it's not like they can just pick up and go and put down roots somewhere else and work from home. So help if you can. Hurricane Helene has pounded western North Carolina and East Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains. All roads are closed in western North Carolina. Only way to Asheville, North Carolina is by air. Here is I-40 completely inaccessible, going state to state. Every resident was told to get out of their home, go to higher ground. But these bridges, these roads, they're not intact. If you zoom in close here, you can see people on their roof climbing to the top. If you've seen my other videos, you have real life footage of people in their homes as these floods came in. Waterville Dam, a Lake Lure dam, had become faulty. Based on the terrain of the mountains, everything is floating downwards. Within a couple of hours, these residents got up to a foot of rain in a couple of hours. Even first responders couldn't even get to anybody. Their lives were at stake as well. Even roads as 74, I-26 that lead into I-40, inaccessible. Houses have been floating away. Long-term businesses there for decades and decades, gone. Even to get to a local Walmart, no one can get food or water. Many people are without cell phone service, way to call home, way to call for help, and honestly just nowhere to go. Even cows, horses, terrible videos of them being washed away in the water. Appalachian State students, their cars going underwater. This region needs your prayers. While the rain has stopped, the flooding may still accumulate. Like I said, we have an Airbnb in the Smoky Mountains. If you're able to get there, we have some open dates coming up. Please reach out to me.
These are the some of the first images being posted online of areas alongside the Appalachian Trail that have been affected by the hurricane last night into this morning, and like this bridge completely knocked out by Uncle Johnny's hostel. I remember walking across that just like some months ago. It's wild to think about how different the trail is now just from one storm.
All hands, hoist the colors high. He
This story is absolutely heartbreaking, and unfortunately it is just one of many stories coming out just like this after Hurricane Helene. These posts and photos come from the Facebook of Jessica Dry Turner, and these are her updates. She starts out at 12:46 p.m. Friday saying, "I'm asking anyone that prays to God above for prayers, not just for my family, but for all of those affected by the hurricane. My family is currently on the roof of their house in Asheville, North Carolina, with nothing but the clothes on their back and one working phone. My parents in their 70s, my sister and 6-year-old nephew have lost everything. They are watching 18-wheelers and cars floating by. In addition, part of their house that they're sitting on is in front of them. They've called 911, but they aren't the only ones needing rescued. This is definitely a moment when faith is all you have. God knows the outcome already. I just pray for their lives, health, and an inner peace in their spirits that they know God holds them in his hands." Around 10 hours later, at 1:54 a.m. on Saturday morning, she makes the following update. "My parents and nephew drowned because the roof collapsed. My sister got wedged between something. She was rescued an hour later. I cannot convey in words the sorrow, heartbreak, and devastation my sisters and I are going through, nor imagine the pain before us. Please lift my sister who lost her son up in prayers, and my other sister and myself as we come together to somehow comfort her and get through each moment banded together. She is alone, without a means to communicate, and we don't know when we will get to her. The image I focus on every time I imagine that moment is how joyfully they are praising Jesus at his feet, dancing with renewed bodies and not remembering how they passed. I plead to Jesus to hold my sister tightly. God is faithful, just. weeps and mourns when we do, and comforts us in our times of need. He rescued my parents and nephew in a way and took them home. Now he will comfort, heal, and rescue us that are broken, wailing, and utterly lost in another way. I have never felt this kind of loss, devastation, and aching in my spirit. I cry out to my Lord, and I keep crying out to the Lord. Take this heavy burden, please comfort us, constantly remind us of your faithfulness. Then roughly an hour later, she asks, are there any rescue teams that can get us into the city tomorrow, please? I plead and plead that a team can get us to my sister. Anyone, any team out there, I plead someone sees this and has the means and power to help us, please. She then leaves off with 2 final updates. We found her, we just need to get there, pray that we are able to use the roads we need to. It will be very hard in the upcoming moments and days and weeks ahead. I'm thankful for the strength she doesn't know yet that she has, and so very thankful for the blessings we still have. Then Saturday at 1:46 p.m. she says, and whoever it was that contacted someone they know in the hospital to see if she was there, I can never thank you enough for what you've done. It was a NICU nurse that called. She was told to go get her director to find Megan. She felt our pain so much, she went herself with her phone to let Megan speak with us. I can't express the number of prayers that have been answered and continue to be. Thank all of you. My heart just absolutely breaks for the victims that are going through this and having these similar stories. It's just unimaginable.
Oh, it's going to hit the truck. It's going to hit the truck. Good. But it'll probably go to the side. Oh, there. Well, actually, it came up a little bit. The truck came up a little bit.
There's a guy down there.
Yeah, I think there's somebody. There's them here. I think there's somebody in that truck. We can't get our 911 to work. Oh my God. Oh goodness, they dumped everything out. Look, they dumped all this stuff out. That's terrible. Look.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this bridge is collapsing right here, and this truck just, the Jeep just fell into the bridge right here, guys.
Is
Are
there
you
anybody
okay?
in there, Aaron? If you have to go take care of that person, take care of that person. We will get back with you. All right, what you're looking at now.
He's got to come out the back. He's got to come out the back.
This is Aaron J. Jack. He is live in Southport, North Carolina right now. This is the location where we had over a foot of rain. Aaron, we're going to let you, do you need to go and help that person? We can come back to you in a few minutes.
Okay, guys, I got to help.
You go.
Yeah, no,
go.
Aaron,
Right
please.
Yeah, very unfortunate, guys. Someone tried to go through the floodwaters here, across this creek that's been raging for quite a while. This band of rain has been whipping back and forth down to Oak Island. Now back here, I saw probably a dozen, maybe 2 dozen cars go right through this spot moments before this man did. In the last half hour or so, that many cars go through. And as I was talking to you, this guy tried to go through again, and the bridge collapsed. And so that's why it's important to not drive through floodwaters, because you never know what's going on underneath. Now the road, you could see the road surface, water flowing over the road surface, but obviously underneath the bridge, all of the dirt has been washed away. And when this man tried to drive over the bridge, the roadway collapsed into the creek, Fortunately, we were able to get him out. Some people ran to help me. We busted out his back window. You can see the back of his vehicle is open here, and he was able to climb out to safety. Just a minor wound. He got scratched, I think, with some glass on his leg, but he is okay. Quite upset, though, about what happened here. And this is still a dangerous situation here on the North Carolina coast.
There are police officers stopping people from getting emergency supplies and baby formula in South Carolina, where they are still receiving rain without power, no food, and bodies are still being recovered. You heard that right. Police officers are literally guarding the store and not allowing people inside during an emergency. Multiple sources of people are complaining about the stench that is coming from unalive bodies that have yet to be discovered. There is massive price gouging, with people being charged $10 a gallon for gas when they are simply trying to get out of a hazardous situation. I told you guys months ago, you need to carry cash. People in South Carolina, their ATMs are down. Everywhere is only accepting cash in certain parts of the flooded areas, and people have no way to get food. They are talking about children running around in the streets and unable to find parents that are naked. And again, they are still receiving rain and are forecasted to get more rain over the next 7 days.
I'm hungry. Still have no power. I have no gas to get to my kids. I don't know where to get gas. So there's that.
Just no stores open. It's cash only. The ATMs are down. But there's little babies that have nothing to drink, and we're going on 3-4 days now.
It's not only months of recovery.
You have people that are still underneath all of this that have yet to be found, because there are entire pieces of this community underground. That is a freaking Lowe's where the water is to the roof, and this is why the body count is steadily climbing, and they don't know how many people are actually unalive because most of them are still missing. They're saying supplies are arriving by helicopters and freaking mules. These people literally need help, like now.
Oh, shit.
Get in the house.
Oh, shit.
Go, get up.
Your truck down? Everything's down.
I pray for the circumstances will change. I pray that the fear inside of me, in Jesus' name. I pray that a breakthrough would happen today. I pray miracles over your life, in Jesus' name. I pray for revival, a restoration of faith.
On Helene, people in Western North Carolina were drowning in their houses this weekend. Others were losing everything. President Biden was at his beach house, and Vice President Harris was hosting political fundraisers on the West Coast. Is there a reason that they could not be here?
All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, the North Carolina flood victims are citizens of the United States and not Ukraine, so our politicians see no reason to help them.
Well, my house is currently flooding, and my neighbor's house is... What is that? I saw a big old fat log come out. My car, gone. It could have been up there, but I decided to be hard-headed. And now that poor car is holding on by a thread. I called the emergency. They said they're gonna be on their way, but I don't know how many people are probably already calling them. I probably should have left. I should have listened to everybody. But did I? No, because I'm hard-headed.
What's the update? What's the update?
Well, they're starting to move, so we'll probably get some movement.
What happened? What happened?
We're going back out. Oh. It's not a very comfortable feeling. No, it's not a good sign. No, that's pretty bad. Yeah.
A few moments later.
I'll continue to say this until people get it. What's happening in Western North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, it is not the same thing as a hurricane hitting Florida. This is in the freaking mountains. They had no warning. They had no idea this was going to happen. None. They need air support. There are people that are missing. They can't get in touch with their family. They have no way of communicating with anyone. They have no electricity. They have no food, water, any way of telling anyone where they are. No, nothing. And they don't have any way to fix it because the roads are washed out and there's no way in or out. People are just stuck. And this happened quickly with no warning. This is in the mountains of Appalachia. Like, there's not hurricane warnings don't affect them. I mean, this is crazy. A lot of people went to sleep and a dam broke a few cities away, and then that led to another dam breaking and another dam breaking, and then next thing you know, their house is washing down the side of the mountain. When you live on the mountain, the only thing you got to worry about is if there's like tons and tons of rain for weeks and weeks at a time, then you might have to worry about a mudslide. But never in their wildest dreams did they expect this. There was no warnings. There was no anything. This just happened. People were trapped in their homes with flash flooding. And there's still so many people that are making videos that saying, please help me find my family. Please let me know if they're okay. And I mean, why isn't the government there helping them? Like, they need air support. I mean, before people can even get in to help, they have to have a way to get in. And there's no gas at any of the gas stations anywhere in the area. The entire Western North Carolina is just completely inaccessible except by air. And this is 2 days later. I mean, I don't understand why they're not getting help. I know that they're busy in Florida. This is catastrophic for people that had no time to prepare, no warning, and could have never imagined this in their wildest dreams. I saw one girl say that his funeral was supposed to be this weekend, and the funeral home is completely flooded, completely. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Just having that thought in the back of your mind while all this is going on. Pastures of livestock that just never made it out. And even when they cut them free, there's even pictures of dogs getting set free they were in cages. Government, please send help, send air support, please rescue these people. Get it together because they need help too. There's entire cities that are gone. There is so many people that are unalived. I mean, they can't even get it together to figure that out at this time. There are people that lived through Katrina that now are living in Western North Carolina, and they are comparing this to Katrina. I can't even imagine that. Multiple people are saying that. We pretty much think of Katrina being like the worst thing ever. No one's taking it seriously at all. They think just because they're not supposed to be affected by a hurricane that they should be okay. And that's not what happened. And once again, Elon Musk, who is one man, is coming to the rescue way better than our government does. He's positioned his Starlink satellites to where the people in these affected areas can at least get Wi-Fi and be able to call. He literally did that. Our government has done nothing. Just like he had to send a shuttle into space to rescue the people that are stranded there. How is one man doing more than our government is? I mean, I know he's rich, but come on. Like, the government should be doing something. They're the ones with all the planes. There are people that are taking their personal plane and helping. The only help they're getting is from their local resources and people that are using their own personal stuff coming from, the vicinity. National help is not fair.
Parts of Western North Carolina in and around Asheville hit with what officials are calling biblical devastation.
Officials are calling it biblical devastation. Does that stand out to anyone else here that ABC News, a mainstream media platform, is referring to the aftermath of Hurricane Helene and the floods as a biblical event? And I'm only saying this because, I was raised and indoctrinated in the Christian cult. I'm not there anymore. I don't mean that in an offensive way if you are, even though I know that probably comes off as offensive. Regardless, we obviously know of, the big flood with Noah's Ark, but as well as signs of the end times, which are massive floods. So it's just interesting that ABC News chose to say that officials are calling this biblical devastation, because what does that do? If I'm someone who believes in God, and I believe, in everything the Bible says, and I believe in Revelations, and I know that God is going to start giving us massive floods and massive natural disasters when we're almost at the end times, if I hear biblical devastation, a few things are going to start happening. First and foremost, rather than actually looking at the towns and the cities and everyone involved for the failed infrastructure that led to these floods, I now just think this is an act of God. I could still be sad, I could still be devastated, but I'm not going to have any plan going forward for how to prevent this in the future. And I'm also not going to hold anyone accountable for why it happened, because it was a biblical devastation. Not only that, but I'm also going to not connect it or correlate it with climate change or global warming at all. Because again, I'm not thinking of this as anything other than a biblical event, basically. It was God's punishment or whatever it would be, or we're almost in the end times. See, everyone? And it just also plays in that narratives too, still, of the rapture. What is the rapture? Oh, you're waiting for someone to come save you. A whole group of people in this country and people that are trying to run this country, they literally believe that someone is coming to save them. That's why they don't care. That's why they're not interested. because they think it's all over anyways. Because people that are in power say things like biblical devastation, because that then releases any control, I guess. I don't know. I just think language is really important. I think language really matters. Maybe I'm totally wrong here and I'm like reaching, but maybe I'm not, because biblical devastation seems like a pretty interesting word choice to explain the aftermath of Hurricane Helene and the floods that have devastated the Southeast.
Can I tell you what I find suspicious as shit? That one of the areas affected by Hurricane Helene is the world's largest lithium deposit, and the DoD just entered into an agreement with this company right here to mine lithium for electric cars starting in 2025. Now that area is completely devastated. This was a $90 million agreement between the DoD and this company right here to get Kings Mountain, North Carolina lithium mine up and running by 2030. If that area has been inundated, is in a disaster zone, then the government can come in and do eminent domain, and they can pay you what it was worth 5 years ago rather than what it's worth right now. Imagine that your home has turned into a watery lot and the government comes to you and says, hey, I'll pay you what you paid for it. You're gonna take it and you're gonna go, right? What do you think's gonna happen right here now that they want this lithium mine up and running by 2025, 2030 at the latest? Back in 1947, we had the Florida-Georgia hurricane, or Hurricane 9, and it was the first hurricane to be targeted for weather modification. What happened was General Electric's, the US Navy, the Army, the Air Force, they poured dry ice into this hurricane using airplanes to see what would happen. Would they slow it down? Well, what happened was it slowed down a little bit, but it turned west really sharp. Let me show you. This is the path that the hurricane took in 1947. Does it look similar to you? Probably not. It's a coincidence, right? Moving on. I'm sure this is just another coincidence, but do you know who owns the most shares in that lithium mine? BlackRock and Vanguard.
I really don't think y'all understand how bad it is in the Southeast right now. We have towns that don't exist anymore. Chimney Rock is gone. The city of Asheville is cut off from the world. This is not an exaggeration. All the bridges leading into the city have been washed away. They have no food, no power, no water, no internet, no cell service. They don't even have radio. It's a complete dead zone. No one knows what's going on in there. I don't think I'm being dramatic when I say that this is a Hurricane Katrina level event. There was a woman in my town who called for an ambulance, and the ambulance got stranded, and they were stranded for like 24 hours, and to my knowledge the patient didn't make it. People are dying. They're still dying. I've been running the generator for the last 3 days, and we're starting to run out of gas, and this is on Highway 123 heading from Aisley to Greenville, and this was a 1 mile long line to get gas because they were the only people we knew around that had gas left. I got all the way to the end and they were out. They had no gas. We checked every gas station in Pickens and Aisley and Liberty, nothing. And I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of gas, I tell you that much. Try to steal some from my car maybe to keep my food cold, but even then, I don't know. This is the I-40 bridge, from Tennessee to North Carolina. It's gone. It don't exist no more either. We have people dying out here. Man, we need help. We need help.
Here's the power outage map, and here's why it's important. So let me provide some detail to give you an understanding of how dire the situation is in western North Carolina. The water, which is required for every 3 days or a human dies, is dependent on the power in a lot of places because the wells over there is no city water. The wells that draw water out of the ground stop operating when the power goes out, and the power is going to be out for weeks. Now, the people who live there know this, and so they go out and get bottled water. They have some provisions and supplies in case the power goes out for multiple days. However, for the folks who are in there who can no longer get out on the roads to go get more water or go get more gas because none of the gas stations are running either. Now you can't even escape the area and you're running out of water, including the folks who have rented in there. And I understand you're like, oh, poor people renting, they're peopling, doing their vacation thing. Now they're in that area, stuck in a house that probably has its bottled water behind locked doors, if there is any at all, and they have no way of getting out, and they have families there with them without drinking water. So this is a humanitarian crisis, because they're running out of gas for their generators and they can't get more gas. They're running out of water to flush their toilets, right? Because no water, no toilets. We need to get as many people out of there as possible in as quick a fashion as possible. The focus should be getting fuel into these areas and getting water into these areas immediately if you're National Guard logistics. So get on this, because there are tons of people who are running out of water, running out of food, and they have no gas and no access to gas. The only gas stations that are open have miles long lines, and when you get to the front, they're just out because the trucks can't get across I-40 because I-40's shut. So get in there. This is a humanitarian crisis. I need to hear a lot more helicopters flying over my house headed west than I am today.
Alright guys, we're out of here. Here's where the fucking road goes. We're transporting all the pets, all of our shit. This is basically what's stopping us from getting out of here. I'm gonna climb over the house.
We're in the big North Carolina catastrophe. But we got a fire because we're from Tennessee, baby. We're trapped at a gas station and we're out of gas. But we're having the best prepper camp adventure possible. Because we're in these beautiful mountains. Look, we even have toilet paper. Lands here. So is this the land? Yep. We'll be using all our toilet paper today. Look at the flood, guys. Real life prepper camp, baby. Hashtag lamb's ear. Who needs their butt wiped? Where's your sister?
Where's our government right now? Because, guys, that's North Carolina over there. I'm in Tennessee. And I just read and saw a video where they said that people and their whole beings were laying all over the ground. And the smell was, like, horrific. And nobody can get in there. Nobody's going over there. What is going on? Why isn't the government helping? This is worse than anybody even expected or even knows, because none of the news channels are even reporting on this except for like TikTok. That's it. What is going on? These people need help. They need help over North Carolina. They need the government to come in with the military. What is going on? Why aren't they helping? There is literally a stink happening because there's so many beings laying everywhere. I'm just so infuriated right now and angry, you guys. Where's the government? I mean, if the government really wanted to help, dude, there would be helicopters and you know, military just everywhere. There's none. There's none. What is going on?
I want to share with y'all some things you may not know about what's happening in the North Carolina mountains in the aftermath of Helene. Here's number one. If you have friends or family that are headed into the mountains or who live there, the looting has picked up major steam. I was advised yesterday by a county sheriff to make sure that anybody out and about is carrying, and in his words, carrying with the safety off. There are very aggressive people out there, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this. It's not because they're necessarily awful. They're desperate. Desperate people do desperate things, y'all. And why are they desperate? Because there's no water in some of these communities. We have neighbors in North Carolina with no water. And all I can say is this: the government ain't coming to save you. Not now, not ever, because they don't care about you, the people, anymore. It is the citizens who are going to have to step it up. Now, I got to tell y'all, I was floored yesterday by how my community, which is a little over an hour away from the affected areas, showed up at donation sites with water and diapers and formula and some liquid IV. I mean, y'all brought all kind of things, bleach, vinegar. You are ready to help, and we're going to take more donations today, and we're so grateful for everything because I'm going to get it into the hands of actual volunteers. And I was asking people, like, why are you bringing it to me? Some of y'all don't even know me. And they said, well, we don't trust the relief organizations anymore. Y'all, we have lost our organizations to grifters. We have lost our organizations to liars. And so we have to rely on each other because that's how this country was built. This country was built patriot by patriot. And I can tell you this, as a realtor, I know my realtors in the mountains, and I have talked to them, and they know the neighbors too. So I am getting your donations into hands that are going to get it into hands. And everybody that sent me dollars, I got teams of shoppers out, and I got receipts to prove it, because we are not grifters. We are neighbors. And the patriots that are in the mountains, if you see this, if your family sees this, hear me now. You are not forgotten by the rest of North Carolina. And if you are not in North Carolina, then there are ways that you can give. But can I just remind y'all of something? You cannot eat money. You cannot drink money. So for those of y'all that thought money was your God, and by the way, that includes our freaking elected officials, it's not your God. Told my girlfriend this morning while we were talking about this during our run, I said, tell your children, 'cause she's got grown children, this is why you keep a stash of water on hand. This is why you keep a stash of food on hand. But for those of y'all that are not in affected areas, if you can take your donated items and send it to the mountains, then send it with a friend. Make sure you're sending truckloads so that we don't overload the roads, because our first responders are overwhelmed. By the way, thank you, Governor DeSantis, for doing more for North Carolina than North Carolina's governor has. I'm very grateful for your National Guard, because we have to help each other, y'all. And I'm going to tell you something. If you will share this with somebody who doesn't know what's happening in North Carolina, they need to know. They need to know that there are entire towns gone. Chimney Rock is gone. A beautiful town. Swannanoa, gone. Montreat, gone. Other towns damaged beyond repair. That means our geography has changed, our culture is at risk, but most importantly, our people, our generational people have lost their generational homes. This ain't about your granite countertops anymore. Listen, y'all, listen. Tell somebody how they can help. I am but one resource. There are people I know all over North and South Carolina that have been gathering up goods and trucks. Somebody as far away as Massachusetts putting a truck together. Let me know. I can connect you to where to take things. The Baptists are doing a great job out of Boone. Samaritan's Purse is on the ground. I trust those two organizations. I wish I had trust for more, because I don't trust this government, but I trust the people of North Carolina. Y'all, the biggest thing you can do, pray. Pray right now. Pray fervently that people will turn their hearts back to God, and pray for a hedge of protection around all those who have seen things they should never have to see. I'll tell you one more story before I hang up this video. I had a lady come to my donation site yesterday, and her grandson is 10 years old, living in the mountains with his mother, who works in a VA hospital. They're getting the kid out today to get him home because they can finally get him out, and they're worried because he has seen things he should never have to see. When you have children that are seeing bodies on the ground and towns gone, we're going to have to answer for that one day, y'all. Please pray, please do something. And for those of y'all that have already done something, I can't thank you enough.
This flooding in North Carolina does not sit well with me. I think something's going on. So I decided to do some digging. So the first thing I find out is North Carolina has the richest deposits of lithium in the entire world. Yeah, lithium for like cars, batteries, all that. Then I find out they have the world's highest purity quartz deposits. And that quartz just so happens to be the world's supply for AI chips, microchips, and all kinds of stuff. We're talking a $530 billion industry. So this is where it gets interesting. So a company by the name of Piedmont Lithium is awaiting a state mining permit for a site in northern Gaston County. And Gaston County is completely flooded right now. The project was awaiting zoning approval because they were getting backlash from the residents and also city officials. And this lithium mine they want would be the third largest producer of lithium in the world. And they made a deal with Tesla already. Now remember the quartz? So in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, right next to Ashland, they are wanting to expand their mines even larger. And the residents aren't having it either. Enter the floods. People, these are mountain towns. It rarely, if not ever, floods in the mountains. I would know, I grew up in the mountains in Colorado, which means none of these people have flood insurance. I mean, the media is saying biblical devastation in North Carolina, AKA like the worst thing that could happen, and you're not coming back from it. Read between the lines, people. Everything happens for a reason.
Why didn't they evacuate? Why didn't they evacuate? I keep seeing that. I need people to understand people were evacuating to go to the mountains, aka Asheville, aka to Tennessee, to get away from Helene. Biltmore is terrible, and it's not even built to withhold floodings. Yes, I get that. I've lived in Asheville for 6 years. We get flash floodings. What you guys don't understand, the dam broke. I haven't been able to get in contact with my friends until today. There's no power. There's no water. The images coming out of Asheville right now are heartbreaking. Some people lost everything. I don't even know where the death toll stands right now, but I'm pretty sure like over the coming days, it's just gonna keep rising. People are still trapped in Asheville. Some places got it worse. Some people's homes are floating away. I keep seeing videos that are just like coming out of Asheville where I used to live, completely underwater. I was trying to book a flight to go back in and to look for my friends. No flights are going in. The roads are cut out. There's a lot of mountain slides, so the roads are literally eroding away. Thank God I got in touch with some of them. They're able to leave now, and they're trying to find a route to just get out. But I need y'all to understand something. Asheville is not Florida. They're not gonna get ready for a hurricane like Florida. With that being said, people were evacuating the coast to go to the mountains to get away from the hurricane. That's what y'all need to understand.
I am so frustrated. People think that our dam here in North Carolina, not everybody, a lot of us North Carolinians know our dam did not break on its own. Do you understand that? There's a lot of us know that dam did not break on its own. Wake up! Please wake up. We're tired. Wake the fuck up. We're under attack. Research. Start digging, man. How much do you have to see? Do not, like... Our state is pretty fucked up from all this damage. People are really suffering. And people are like, they're going with their feelings, not researching, like, let's question this. Why is this happening? Let's follow the money. We are a red state. They declared us blue. We fought back. This whole state is flooded of T supporters. Do the math.
I don't make videos like this, but I don't believe people understand how devastating this hurricane has been to the folks up in North Carolina. I see people comparing it and asking why haven't they prepared as much as, people in Florida and everything like that. But people just do not understand the cultural and just locational differences in the mountains versus something that has hurricanes more frequently. I grew up in Chimney Rock. That's my hometown. It doesn't exist anymore now, and I now live over in Florida, so I can kind of have say on both things on this perspective. For starters, of course, nobody has flood insurance up in the mountains because we are at least 5 hours away from the oceans, which, yes, hurricanes could still happen, but as a rule, when a hurricane does happen to cut across, mountain ranges usually work as great barricades to break up storms before they actually hit the towns that are in the valleys that are over there. But, of course, there's exceptions. I've been told by other Floridians, they're saying, then why didn't people evacuate and, go somewhere else to move out if they saw the storm was heading this way? Besides the fact that they were given very little time to do so and just leave in the first place, Appalachian, Blue Ridge Mountain, community culture, this is a very poor community. This is a very rural area. That being said, people live in houses that their great-great-grandparents have been living in. Everyone's in-laws, their cousins, their friends, everybody they know lives in the same county. Obviously there's exceptions, but with that being said, you don't have the luxury like you have in Florida, where you have people living in other parts in Florida, or people out of state. A lot of people just are stuck there. And besides them not being able to know somewhere else to go, they do not have the money to leave. Also, airports, people say fly away. There are 2 airports in the city I'm living in now in Florida. There is one airport in Charlotte that I know of, and there's one airport in Charlotte, which are over 2 hours apart from each other. Those are the only airports I can think of around there. They do not have much means of transportation. Let me also explain how the roads work. Everything is built on a mountain cliffside because you cannot build roads through mountains. I mean, you can do a tunnel, but that's very rare. With that being said, you can make at most a 4-lane road. At most, usually it's a 1 or 2-lane highway that zigzags down a mountainside, which means you have usually one, maybe a few exits off the mountain, but you have to wrap around the mountain on the single road and leave. When water floods the base of the mountain, or worse, all this rain causes a mudslide or a rock slide that destroys these cliffside roads, people literally cannot get off their mountain. They are literally trapped on the mountainside, either with their house going to crumble with the landslide or the water is going to fill up from the bottom. So now with the specifics of the region being stated, now let's talk about the absolute anarchy that is happening around this area right now. So besides people just being afraid that they cannot get in contact with loved ones, most cell towers have been destroyed during the flood, and same with a lot of power lines. There are people here without power. My family, I lost contact with them up until today because I could not keep contact with them because the cell towers went down. With that being said, with the contact I was able to get with them today, I am still in shock with what is happening. So they told me that they are currently, living off a car battery and a generator, a small generator that they have just to have power for lights in the evening because power is going to be gone, and they said the predicted time where power will be back in their area in North Carolina will be 3 to 4 weeks from now. Just imagine not having power, running water, or any of that for 3 to 4 weeks. Not only that, but I have friends and family by the lake area, and the ones I have been able to get in contact with have told me that they have seen, this is a trigger warning right here about death, they have seen the bodies floating down the river, bodies in the lake, and they are having the volunteer fire department take photos of these people so they can hopefully identify them later on. As of just between the areas of Batcave to Lake Lore, I have been told there has been already over 60 bodies found. And that has not been covered on the news yet. I don't know if it ever will, but from what I've been told by people I know who are volunteer fire department, that's what they've been seeing. Let alone everything being shut down. All the grocery stores, or the main chain grocery store in the mountain area, has been shut down. Ingles, the grocery store. This is because their main HQ is in Black Mountain, which has been destroyed. And apparently all of their huge distributor stuff was at that HQ. So literally these grocery stores do not have the food because their distribution has been shut down. There has been resource stations for people to go and pick up, but it has been chaos in some of the bigger towns and such because since all these businesses are shut down, everything's in chaos. There has been a lot of looting, robbery, mugging. People are being held by weapons during these situations at bad hours because it is literally anarchy in some of those areas right now. I was also informed that the National Guard has been there and there's also been rescues happening, but these rescues are happening at set locations. A lot of people can't reach these rescue stations, and if they can't get there to get helicoptered away, they are literally trapped in their homes with no one there to help them. Reinforcements have arrived in these areas, but sometimes it's been causing more difficulties for the people in the community, such as there are areas being closed off because it's too dangerous to go over there, so they're trying to do a safe rescue, but there are people in that community that need to be rescued right away, and there are so many local firemen, local volunteers that are going to try to rescue people, but they literally can't because these roads are now being further closed off. For example, I know that my brother, he was driving down and he had to take a back road, and he came across an old lady at a house where she was out of oxygen tanks and she was literally hallucinating in her own house and wasn't looking too good. And he had to go and he was able to provide her oxygen and such. But since there's so much tragedy happening in this area, people, even in the community that are trying to help, they are kind of being isolated themselves and they cannot even help those who they need to help out. It's just absolutely devastating. I know I don't post stuff like this, but if you guys want to share this video, get this audio out, do whatever, spread the message that the Carolinas, everyone from Hurricane Helene does need help. Don't follow me, don't look at my account for this stuff. This will be my only video, but I just had to get the word out as someone who was both formerly a North Carolinian and now a Floridian. I just am devastated to see how a storm can cause so much destruction. And I just could not rest not knowing that not many people were able to get this perspective. It has been an ultimate tragedy that has happened this year, and I just hope that the community, not just in North Carolina, but all across who can be hearing this audio, can band together and hopefully be stronger. And yeah, that's all I can hope for these days.
And remember, kids, the next time that somebody tells you the government wouldn't do that, oh yes they would.